Hey, Motorman here, and this week we're going to talk about the high price of gas and how that's going to affect the motorcycle market. Let's go for a little ride. All right, the other day I filled this bike up. It's $5.75 a gallon here in Florida for premium gas. That's the highest price we've ever paid for gasoline. Well, right now the prices are the highest they've ever been in history everywhere. If you're out in California, I think you're up over $9 a gallon. By the way, the reason for that is they got a lot of taxes on their gasoline out in California, and they have to use certain mixtures certain times of the year. All this causes expense to the oil companies, and of course that expense is passed down to you. So you're out in California, yeah, you're just screwed. The question is, how is this going to affect the motorcycle market? Well, it's not going to affect it in a positive way, that's for sure. Granted, there are some people who may decide to get a motorcycle because of the high gas prices, or as what happened last time back in, I think it was 2008 or 2009, a lot of people went out and bought scooters because, you know, they get, I don't know, 80 miles to the gallon or whatever. And if you buy a smaller motorcycle, you know, the 300cc or 350, 400, you probably get those up around 55, 60 miles to the gallon. A bike like this Harley Davidson, gets 40 miles to the gallon. I don't check it very often, but it's somewhere around there depending on what kind of riding you do. But the bikes like this, if you could afford to spend over $20,000 for a motorcycle, well, you'll probably still be able to put gas in your bike. But if you're making payments and you got big payments and you put very little money down and money is tight, as gas prices go up, everything goes up. I think beef, or I buy a lot of steaks, and I'm paying double what I did 6 months ago for a steak, or a year ago. A steak that used to cost $10, which was expensive I thought then, is now like $20. You might as well go out and eat. But as the price of fuel goes up, so goes everything else. Pretty soon, and I know there's a lot of people in this situation here in the United States, you got to make a decision whether you're going to put gas in your car or food on the table. And I feel sorry for those people. That's a very tough position to be in. So overall, I'm sure that the high gas prices are going to affect the motorcycle industry negatively, because let's face it, for most people, a motorcycle isn't a necessity. And when things get bad with the economy, the first thing that goes are toys. The last big recession, or the Great Recession that we had to start in 2007, there was a lot of people at that time who had paid $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 over list price for Harley Davidson, and maybe they borrowed on their home because the home prices had gone up just like they are now. Home prices had gone up, so they would take out a second mortgage on a house. Instead of fixing up the house, they went and bought a Harley, paid thousands over list. The recession hits, prices of Harley Davidson motorcycles drop, and all of a sudden the first thing that they're going to let go is the motorcycle, and they probably can't sell it, so they're going to get it repossessed. That is what happened 2007, 8, and 9, is people got their motorcycles repossessed, and then Harley was stuck with a glut of used motorcycles, most of which they were in for a very high price, because they were allowing people to borrow the entire amount plus a couple $3,000 over MSRP. That's a bad place to be. In fact, their finance division was going bankrupt, so I think it was Warren Buffett bought the Harley Davidson's finance division, and that's supposedly in much better shape now and more prepared for a recession. And right now, since there's already not enough motorcycles in dealer showrooms for the demand, I don't see it putting Harley-Davidson or any other motorcycle business or motorcycle manufacturer out of business. I just don't see that happening. I think Harley's in better shape this time than they were last time financially. They are making less motorcycles. So they won't be stuck with a glut of bikes. In fact, from what I understand, there's at least 3,000 Harley-Davidson sitting in a warehouse they can't ship because they don't have some parts to the motorcycles. It's the same thing with cars. And right now, of course, cars also are going for well over list price. $3,700, I think, is the average over MSRP for any car. It's not like a Corvette. They're 10 grand over list, but your average mid-sized car or compact car is going for almost 4 grand over MSRP. Well, once people get laid off, if we go into a recession, the supply will again catch up with demand because people won't be buying big ticket items. I don't see anything in the future that's going to bring the price of gas down. In fact, it looks like it's just going to get worse. My prediction, in fact, I made this prediction a while back, I think in February of I made this prediction in February of 2020 that we're going to see $10 a gallon gasoline, and it's headed that way. No end in sight. When you cut down on the supply and the demand is high, prices go up. That's just the way it is. So it's not going to affect the motorcycle market in a good way. It's going to make everything, as the price of gasoline goes up, diesel fuel, almost everything is delivered by truck here in the U.S. And remember, they shut down pipelines, so the gasoline or the fuel oil that would have gone through a pipeline now has to go through a truck. That costs a lot more money, especially with diesel fuel that I think right now $7 a gallon and up as high as $10 a gallon in some places. So yeah, it's things aren't going to get better anytime soon. In fact, I see them getting much worse, and most economists think we're going to go into a recession. That's 2 quarters of negative growth. That means layoffs. That means less money in people's pockets, and that may cause less of a demand for gasoline or oil. So it may go down, but I don't think to an affordable level. If the demand drops for gasoline here in the U.S. and diesel fuel, you might go down $1, but $4 a gallon is still outrageous. So sorry, I don't have any good news. That's just my feelings. It's going to go up higher before it goes down lower.